in the shadow of the boba tree.
They said secrets always find their way back home. But Amarachi didn't believe that. Not when she had worked so hard to bury hers. Not when the secret involved blood. Her blood. Amarachi was only 17 when she first felt the sickness. She had fainted twice at school. Her skirts no longer fit, and each time her aunt, who raised her after her parents died in a car crash, kept asking, "Are you pregnant, Amara? You better not bring shame to my house." And Amarachi, eyes full of fear, would always shake her head no. But she was pregnant. She had known for 3 months. It was the biology teacher, Mr. Matthew, a married man with 2 children. He told her it was love, that he'd leave his wife, that she was special. She was naive. He was a predator. When her belly became impossible to hide, Amarachi did the unthinkable. She ran away. She disappeared in the middle of the night, taking nothing but a plastic bag with 2,000 naira, a Bible, and a sachet of gari. She didn't know where she was going, but fate took her to Ihiala, a quiet town 3 hours away, where she found shelter with an old nurse who had retired and lived alone. The woman's name was Mama Neka, and she knew Amarachi was pregnant the moment she saw her. She offered her food, warm water, a bed, and eventually helped her deliver a baby girl. "You have a healthy daughter," Mama Neka whispered. But Amarachi didn't smile. She stared blankly at the child. A mixture of pain, shame, and fear clouded her face. That night, when Mama Neka was fast asleep, Amarachi walked to the bush behind the compound, dug a shallow hole with her bare hands, and buried the truth. Not the baby, no. But the only proof the baby had ever existed, the birth certificate, the photos, the tiny clothes, and the name she'd planned to give her. She left the child on Mama Neka's doorstep with a note. "She deserves better than me. I'm too broken to be her mother." And then she vanished. 15 years later, Amarachi was now 32, educated, polished, a successful architect in Lagos. Nobody knew about Ihiala. Nobody knew she had ever been pregnant. She had rebuilt her life. She even got engaged to Dozier, a kind man from a wealthy family. They were planning their wedding when Dozier brought up something unexpected. "My cousin is flying in from the village. She's like a daughter to my aunt. They adopted her when she was a baby, abandoned at the nurse's house in Ihiala." The moment Amarachi heard Ihiala, her fork dropped. Her heart began to race. But she kept her face calm. She smiled. She nodded. She didn't sleep that night. Could it be? The next week, Dozier brought the cousin home. Her name was Chisom. She was beautiful, smart, polite. And when she smiled, Amarachi saw something that made her knees go weak. It was her smile, her dimple, her exact eyes. Chisom was her daughter, the one she had left, the one whose truth she had buried. For weeks, Amarachi avoided her. She would make excuses to not join dinners, to not speak too much, to hide the shaking in her hands. Until one day, Chisom walked up to her in private and asked something strange. "Auntie Amara, why do I feel like you're afraid of me?" Amarachi froze. Tears welled up. Her lips trembled. "Because I once made a mistake I can't undo." Chisom didn't understand. Not yet. But days later, Mama Neka, now very old, called Chisom and told her everything. The next time they met, Chisom hugged Amarachi, tightly, silently. And for the first time in 15 years, the secret didn't hurt as much. For days, Amarachi walked around like a ghost in her own skin. Now that Chisholm knew the truth, it was only a matter of time before Dozie found out too. And he did. But not the way Amarachi would have wanted. It was on a calm Sunday afternoon. The family had gathered after church. Chisholm, bold with her newfound truth, had begun calling Amarachi Mummy in private. She didn't mean to let it slip. But during lunch, as they joked about family resemblances, Chisholm chuckled and said, "Of course I look like Auntie Amara. She's my mother after all." The room fell silent. Forks froze mid-air. Dozie's eyes slowly turned towards Amarachi. What did she just say? Amarachi's hands were shaking. She stood, lips quivering, heart pounding like thunder. Dozie, I was going to tell you, I swear. I didn't know how. He stood too. Anger, confusion, betrayal, all written on his face. So all this time, you've been sitting at the same table with your daughter, our daughter, and lying to everyone? Tears welled in Amarachi's eyes. I didn't lie. I buried my shame. I was a child. I was scared. I left her with someone I trusted. I regretted it every day of my life. Dozie's voice broke. And you never thought I deserved the truth? Before we planned our future? Before I brought her into our home like a sister? He walked out that day, didn't answer her calls, didn't respond to her messages. For the first time in years, Amarachi felt like the 17-year-old girl again, alone, terrified, and full of regret. A week later, Dozie showed up at her door, not with anger this time, but with tired, quiet eyes. I spoke to Mama Enika. I spoke to Chisholm too. He sat down. You made a mistake, Amara, a huge one. But you also gave birth to the woman I admire most in this world. He reached for her hand. I won't pretend it didn't hurt. But love isn't about perfect people. It's about truth and forgiveness. And with that, he forgave her. She buried the truth, but the truth grew roots, found her, and gave her a second chance. And this time, she chose not to run. What are your thoughts about the story? Please share your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with others to see.